Emma scrubbed the stone floor. Her knees ached. The water was ice cold. "You're too plain," her mother said from above. "No man will ever want you." Emma was 25 years old, still unmarried. In their small village, that meant shame, deep shame. Her sister Jane sat by the fire. Soft hands, pretty face, golden hair that caught the light. Mother's favorite, always mother's favorite. "Look at your hands," mother sneered. "Rough like a farm boy's, ugly." Emma looked down. Her hands were strong. Yes, they could work from dawn to dusk. But mother was right. They weren't soft or beautiful. His hair. The baker's son had liked her once. They met by the old well. He made her laugh with his jokes. His eyes sparkled when she spoke. Then mother told him the truth. Emma had no dowry, no money, nothing to offer. He stopped coming around. "I found you work," mother announced one cold morning. "At Lord William's manor." Emma's heart dropped like a stone. The manor sat alone on the dark hill. People whispered strange stories. The Lord never came to town. His few servants talked in hushed voices. "You'll clean for him," mother continued. "It's all you're good for anyway." Jane smiled from her silk sewing. Her hands stayed white and smooth. Perfect. Everything Emma wasn't. "When do I start?" Emma asked quietly. "Tomorrow morning. You'll live there now. Pack your things."
Let's try.
Emma felt the cold creep into her bones. Mother was throwing her away, like old bread, like something broken. That night, Emma packed slowly. One faded dress, 2 clean aprons, her father's old prayer book. He had taught her to read before the fever took him. Jane appeared in her doorway. "They say the Lord is cursed," she whispered. "Scarred and twisted, hideous to look at. That's why he hides away." Emma said nothing. What could she say? "Perfect match for you then," Jane added with a cruel smile. Emma lay in her narrow bed. She stared at the cracked ceiling. Tomorrow everything would change forever. Fear filled her chest, but also something else. Relief. No more cruel words. No more being compared to Golden Jane. Morning came too fast. A rickety cart waited outside. Mother didn't say goodbye. Jane waved from the window, still smiling that cold smile. The road stretched long and winding. Dark trees pressed close. The driver stayed silent. Emma clutched her small bag like a lifeline. Then she saw it. Raoul Ang. The manor rose like a giant from the mist. Stone walls reached toward gray clouds. Tall windows watched like sad eyes. But the gardens, oh, the gardens were dying. Brown and forgotten. "Here we are, miss," the driver said. He helped her down fast. Then he left quickly, very quickly. Emma stood alone before the massive door. She took a shaky breath, then another. She had no choice now, no home to return to. She knocked. The sound echoed like thunder. Slow footsteps approached. The door creaked open. An elderly woman stood there. Kind face but tired eyes. Gray hair pulled back neat. "You must be Emma." "Yes, ma'am. I'm Mrs. Gray. I run this house. Come inside, child." The entrance hall was grand but covered in dust. Old paintings lined the walls. Everything felt forgotten and deeply sad. "You'll work hard here," Mrs. Gray said gently. "But Lord William pays fairly. He's a good man." Emma nodded. She could work hard. She'd always worked hard. "Tonight you rest. Tomorrow we begin. Your room is upstairs."
Yes.
Emma followed up the creaking stairs. Her room was small but clean. A real window. A soft bed. Better than anything at home. "One important thing," Mrs. Gray said seriously. "The Lord keeps to himself. You might not see him for days. Don't go looking for him. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am." Mrs. Gray smiled sadly and left. Emma sat on the bed. Truly alone now. Completely alone. But maybe that was better. No one here to call her ugly. No one to compare her to perfect Jane. Just work. Just survival. She unpacked her few things carefully. Tomorrow she would clean. She would prove her worth. She would survive. Outside, darkness fell over the silent manor. Somewhere above her, footsteps moved slowly, back and forth. The mysterious Lord was there, watching, waiting. Emma didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change, in ways she never could have dreamed. Lord William stood at his tower window. He watched the plain girl arrive below. Another servant. They never stayed long once they saw him. He touched the left side of his face. Deep scars ran from temple to jaw. A fire had done this. He was only 12 then. Now he was 30, and still alone. People called him a monster, beast, cursed thing. So he stopped going to town. Why face their horrified stares, their whispered prayers? His parents had died in that terrible fire. He'd saved his little sister Catherine, but the flames took half his face and all his hope for a normal life. "My lord," Mrs. Gray's gentle knock interrupted. The new maid has arrived safely. I saw her, he said. His voice was deep but soft. She seems like a strong girl, a hard worker, I think. William nodded slowly. They all seemed strong at first. Then they glimpsed his ruined face. Some ran screaming. Others stayed but whispered behind his back. He hated both reactions equally. What's her name? He asked. Emma Stone, my lord. Emma. Such a simple name. He found that refreshing somehow. Her family sent her here? Mrs. Gray's face darkened. Yes, my lord. They don't want her back. William turned sharply. This was unusual. Why not? They think she's too plain, sir. No marriage prospects. So they cast her out like rubbish. Too plain. William almost laughed bitterly. He knew all about being unwanted, about families who looked away in shame. Make her welcome then, he said firmly. Good meals, a warm room, whatever she needs. Of course, my lord. Mrs. Gray left quietly. William returned to his window, watching. This girl, Emma, was different somehow. He could sense it. Most servants came for coin. Their families needed money desperately. They'd endure anything for steady wages, but this one, she'd been thrown away, abandoned, like him. He remembered his sister's wedding 2 years past. Catherine had begged him to attend. He'd stood in the shadows watching. The whispers still echoed in his mind. Is that her brother? The burned one? How dreadful. Thank God she got the beauty, not like him. He'd left before the ceremony ended. Catherine wrote sometimes. He never answered. Better she forget him entirely. William walked to his cluttered desk. The state papers covered every surface. He managed his lands well. His tenants prospered. His crops flourished. But what good was success when you lived completely alone? A letter lay unopened. Another marriage proposal. Some desperate lord's daughter. Her father was brutally honest. She had a twisted foot, a scarred face, no other offers. 2 broken souls, the letter suggested. Perhaps they might suit each other. William burned it immediately. He wouldn't marry from pity. Better to remain alone forever. But sometimes, in the deep night hours, the loneliness crushed him. No wife, no children, no one to truly talk to. Just kind Mrs. Gray and frightened servants. He tried once, Lady Sarah Whitmore. She'd seemed different at first, said scars didn't define a person. Then she saw him in full daylight. Her face had changed instantly. Polite excuses followed. Then, nothing. That was 5 years ago. He'd stopped trying after that. Built walls instead. Stone ones and emotional ones. Now this Emma was here. Cast out like him. Unwanted like him. Would she run too? Probably. They all did eventually. But something felt different about her. The way she'd stood straight and proud. No tears. No begging. Just quiet dignity. He would watch her carefully, from a distance. See if she truly was different. See if she could survive here. The manor desperately needed care. His mother's rose garden lay dying and forgotten. He couldn't bear to restore it. Too many painful memories lived there. Maybe Emma could help somehow. Maybe she'd stay longer than the others. Maybe. No. He stopped that dangerous thought. Hope led only to heartbreak. Better to expect nothing at all. But still, he would watch. And wait. And see what tomorrow brought. The strength teacher, even the cat. She would start working soon. Learn the house's many secrets. Learn about him eventually. Most people ran when they discovered the full truth. But Emma, she had nowhere to run to. No family waiting. Just like him. Perhaps that shared abandonment would make all the difference. Perhaps not. Only time would tell the tale. William turned from his window. He had work to finish, papers to sign, a manor to manage, a solitary life to continue living. But tonight felt different somehow. Tonight, he wasn't the only unwanted soul in this lonely place. Emma woke before dawn broke. Gray light crept through her small window. She dressed quickly in her plain brown dress and cleanest apron. Mrs. Gray waited in the warm kitchen below. Eat first, child. Long day ahead of us. The kitchen smelled like heaven. Fresh bread cooling on wooden racks. Real butter in a covered dish. Sweet jam in glass jars. At home they'd had none of these luxuries. The Lord values cleanliness above all, Mrs. Gray explained while Emma ate. But we're terribly short-staffed. Just you, me, and old Tom who tends the grounds. Your own best. Emma nodded, chewing slowly. 3 people to maintain this enormous manor. It seemed impossible. Start with the main entrance hall today. Then move to the library if there's time. But don't venture upstairs yet. That's strictly the Lord's private domain. Emma finished her bread and tea. Simple food but filling. Nourishing. She felt stronger already. She began working immediately. The great hall was thick with dust and neglect. Cobwebs hung from the high ceiling like ghostly curtains. She swept and scrubbed for hours. Then, heavy footsteps echoed from above, slow but deliberate. The mysterious lord was awake and moving about. Emma kept working steadily. "Don't seek him out," Mrs. Gray's warning echoed clearly in her mind. By afternoon, she'd moved to the vast library. Books covered every wall from floor to ceiling. Each volume wore a coat of gray dust. She started cleaning them one by one. Books were precious things. They deserved gentle care. The door opened suddenly behind her. Emma froze completely, her heart hammered against her ribs. A tall man stood in the doorway. Broad shoulders filled the frame. Half his face remained in shadow. The other half bore terrible scars. Deep ridges of burned flesh ran from forehead to jaw. But his eyes were the brightest blue, like a summer sky after storms. Kind eyes, gentle eyes. "You're Emma," he said. Not a question. "Yes, my lord." She managed a shaky curtsy, nearly dropped her cleaning cloth. "You're tending to the books?" "Yes, sir." They were quite dusty. He stepped closer into the lamplight. The scars became more visible, raised and twisted, but Emma didn't look away quickly. She'd seen worse injuries. Her uncle after the war, burns from cannon fire. He'd survived with dignity. "Most people stare," Lord William said quietly, "or they look away in horror." "Should I do either of those things?" Emma asked, then caught herself. Too bold by far. "Forgive me, my lord." But the corner of his mouth almost smiled. "No, you shouldn't." He walked to a nearby shelf, selected a leather-bound volume with careful hands. "Can you read these words?" "Yes, sir. My father taught me before he passed." "Good. These books are very old. Some are quite rare. Handle them gently." "I will, my lord." He watched her work for several minutes. She felt nervous but not frightened. Strange sensation. "Your family cast you out," he said suddenly, bluntly. Emma's hands went still. "Yes, my lord." "Because they called you plain." It stung to hear the words spoken aloud, but they were true. "Yes." "Do you believe you're plain?" What an odd question from a lord to his servant. Emma considered carefully. "I'm not beautiful like my sister, that's certain. But I work hard. I can read and write. I can think clearly. That should count for something." Now he did smile. Small but genuine. "Yes, it should count for everything." He turned to leave, then paused at the doorway. "Those blue books on the third shelf, they're my particular favorites. Take extra care with them." "Of course, my lord." He disappeared into the shadowed hallway. Emma released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. That hadn't been terrible at all. He was scarred, yes, marked by some old tragedy, but not cruel, not cold or heartless. She looked at the blue-bound books he'd mentioned. Poetry collections, classical literature, stories of adventure and romance, good choices that spoke well of his character. The day continued peacefully. Emma cleaned room after room. She found years of neglect everywhere, but also hidden beauty. Beneath the dust and cobwebs lay exquisite craftsmanship, fine furniture, delicate artwork. This had once been a magnificent home. At midday, Mrs. Gray brought hot soup and fresh bread. "You met his lordship then?" "Yes, ma'am." "And your impression?" Emma thought carefully. "He wasn't what I expected at all." Mrs. Gray's weathered face brightened. "No, he never is, once you really see him." "Why do the village people fear him so much?" "The scars frighten them, of course, and he's kept himself hidden away for so many years. People fear what they don't understand or know." Emma understood that feeling completely. People had always feared her too. Different reasons, same cruel result. "He asked if I could read," Emma mentioned. "Did he indeed? That's quite unusual. He rarely speaks to new servants at all." Emma felt oddly pleased by this information. She finished her meal and returned to work. The library consumed her entire afternoon. But by evening, it looked transformed, brighter somehow, like it could breathe freely again. As shadows lengthened, Emma felt bone-tired but satisfied. She'd worked hard and accomplished much. She has proven her worth through effort and skill. At dinner, Mrs. Gray shared more stories about the manor's history, about Lord William's quiet routines and simple needs. He takes all his meals alone, walks the grounds after dark, reads for hours by lamplight. A very solitary existence. "Lonely," Emma said without thinking. "Pie." "Yes, child, terribly lonely." Emma understood loneliness intimately. At home, surrounded by family, she'd felt completely alone. Here, among strangers, she somehow felt less isolated. How very strange. That night, lying in her comfortable bed, Emma thought about her surprising day. Lord William's kind blue eyes, his almost smile, his gentle voice was asking about books. The village called him a monster, but monsters weren't gentle with old books. They didn't ask servants about their education. They didn't care about treating precious things with respect. Tomorrow she would clean more rooms, work harder, show her true value, not through beauty or charm, but through dedication and competence. Maybe she'd encounter him again. Maybe not. Either way, she would stay and thrive here. She had nowhere else to go, and truthfully, nowhere else she wanted to be. Here, being plain didn't seem to matter. Here, other qualities were valued, qualities she actually possessed. Emma slept deeply and peacefully. Tomorrow waited ahead, full of dust to clear away, and perhaps new discoveries to make. Days settled into a comfortable rhythm. Emma woke with the sunrise, worked steadily until sunset, slept soundly in her cozy room. The manor transformed slowly under her careful attention. Windows sparkled like diamonds. Floors gleamed with fresh polish. Rooms that had felt tomb-like now welcomed daylight gladly. Lord William noticed every change. He walked through the clean spaces with obvious approval, never spoke directly about her work, but Emma saw satisfaction in his blue eyes. They developed an unspoken dance of sorts. She cleaned in the mornings. He appeared around midday. Never direct meetings, just careful near misses. She would hear his footsteps approaching. She'd move quietly to another room. He'd enter the space she'd just left, like partners in some strange ballet, apart but always aware. One morning, Emma discovered a note on the library desk. His handwriting was neat and careful. "The roses have died in the rear garden. My mother treasured them greatly. Could you perhaps try to bring them back to life?" Sighed Jumputter. Emma ventured outside to investigate. The garden broke her heart instantly. Weeds choked everything. Dead plants crumbled to dust. Stone paths cracked and broken. But beneath the neglect, she glimpsed real potential. Rich dark soil, sturdy boundary walls, strong bones waiting for gentle care. She started with one small flower bed, pulled weeds by hand, added fresh water from the well, searched carefully for living roots. Roses were remarkably tough plants. They might survive with proper tending. Tom, the elderly groundskeeper, shuffled over to help. "Haven't touched these gardens, not since the Great Fire," he said sadly. "Why not?" Emma asked while digging. "Lord's strict orders back then. Too painful for him. His dear mother died trying to save her precious roses. Ran back into the burning house. Never came out again." Emma's hands stilled. Now she understood so much more. This garden held unbearable memories. Overwhelming grief and loss. But growing things could heal wounded hearts. She'd learned that truth after her father's death. Planting herbs and flowers, watching new life emerge. It had helped her survive the sorrow. Days passed in this new pattern. Emma cleaned indoors each morning, worked the garden every afternoon. Her hands grew rougher and more stained. But she didn't care one bit. One warm afternoon, she found herself singing an old folk song her father had loved. She forgot about everything else, just sang while she worked and planted. "You have a lovely voice." Emma jumped like a startled rabbit. Lord William stood at the garden gate. How long had he been listening there? "Forgive me, my lord. I'll stop immediately."
Right.
"No, please don't stop. Mother used to sing in this garden constantly. I'd forgotten how beautiful it sounds." He approached slowly, studied the rose bed she'd been restoring. Tiny green shoots were already pushing through the dark earth. "They're actually growing again. Roses are incredibly strong," Emma said softly. "They just need patient care and time. Like people," he murmured almost to himself. Emma nodded. "Yes, exactly like wounded people." He knelt carefully beside her, touched one delicate shoot with his scarred fingers. Mother would be so happy to see life returning here at last. "Tell me about her," Emma asked gently. Then she worried she'd overstepped again. But he didn't seem to mind at all. She was endlessly kind, remarkably strong. She loved growing everything, teaching me plant names, their different needs and seasons. He talked freely about happier memories, his mother's laughter, garden lessons in sunshine, sweet moments before the tragedy. Emma listened while continuing her work. It felt natural. "Right. I'm talking far too much," he said finally. "No, please don't stop. I enjoy hearing about her. Makes this work less lonely somehow." He looked directly at her then. Really looked. Yes, much less lonely. After that day, he visited the garden regularly. Sometimes he just watched her work. Other times he helped with the heavier tasks. His hands remembered the old skills, just rusty from years of disuse. They talked while they worked together. Simple, comfortable topics. Weather patterns, plant varieties, Books they'd both read, never deeply personal subjects, but steady, pleasant, easy.
That's just not go.
Mrs. Gray noticed the changes immediately. He seems different lately, she observed. Lighter somehow, less burdened. Emma saw the transformation too. He stood straighter now. Ventured outdoors more often. Still bore his scars with dignity. Still moved carefully through the world, but less hidden. Less afraid. One rainy morning, Emma cleaned his private study. She wasn't supposed to enter there, but Mrs. Gray had taken ill. Someone needed to maintain the room. It was meticulously organized but dusty. Business papers covered the desk surface. Estate accounts. Tenant agreements. All perfectly arranged and current. But one drawer held something different. Personal letters tied with faded ribbon. All unopened. All from someone named Catherine. His sister, perhaps. Emma didn't read them, of course. Not her place at all. But she felt deep sadness, seeing them. Family connections severed by fear and self-imposed isolation. She cleaned around everything carefully, put each item back exactly where she'd found it. Perfect order maintained. That evening, he approached her directly. "You cleaned my study today. Mrs. Gray was ill. I thought it needed attention." "It's perfectly fine. You did excellent work." He paused, choosing words. "You saw the unopened letters." "I didn't read them, my lord." "I know you wouldn't." He looked infinitely tired. "My sister Catherine writes faithfully. I never answer her notes. She's better off, without me in her life." Emma wanted to argue that point, but held her tongue. It's not her place to interfere. Not yet, anyway. Instead, she said, "There's fresh soup in the kitchen. Mrs. Gray made extra before she took to bed. I always take meals alone."
"Yes."
"I know that, sir, but it's there waiting, if you should want some." She left him standing there. But later that evening, she heard movement in the kitchen, quiet sounds of someone warming soup, taking sustenance. Small steps forward, but still progress. That night, Emma wrote in her leather journal, a precious gift from her departed father. She recorded thoughts about the manor, her daily work, her observations of the lonely lord. Not a monster at all, not a beast or cursed thing, just a badly wounded man, hurt, and hiding from the world's cruelty, but still fundamentally kind, still decent and good. Ray Soranamni. She was changing too, she realized, growing stronger each day, more confident in her abilities, more certain of her own worth. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more rooms to restore, more garden beds to reclaim, more small conversations that mattered. Emma closed her journal and smiled in the lamplight. Life was finally moving forward, for both of them. Weeks passed like gentle seasons. Emma's work transformed the forgotten manor room by room, but more importantly, it was transforming her too. She woke each morning with purpose now. Real purpose. Not just survival, but creation. Making something beautiful from neglect and sorrow. Lord William appeared more often. Their careful dance became actual conversations about books, about plants, about small daily victories that mattered to no one else. "The East Parlor looks magnificent," he told her one afternoon. "Mother entertained guests there. It hasn't been used since the fire." Emma had spent 3 days in that room alone, scrubbing years of dust from delicate wallpaper, polishing furniture until it gleamed, arranging fresh flowers from the recovering garden. "Perhaps it could be used again someday," she suggested carefully. He looked startled by the idea. I haven't entertained anyone in years. Maybe not grand parties, but your sister Catherine, she might enjoy seeing it." His face closed immediately. "Catherine is better without me." Emma wanted to argue, but she was learning patience. Some walls took time to crumble. Gentle persistence worked better than direct assault. Instead, she shared a different memory. "My father always said, family love doesn't disappear. It just gets buried sometimes, under hurt and fear. But it's still there, waiting." Lord William studied her face intently. "Your father sounds like a wise man." "He was. I miss his guidance terribly." "What would he think of your work here?" Emma smiled genuinely. "He'd be proud, I think. He always said, true worth shows in how we treat forgotten things, abandoned things. Like this old manor. Like all of us," Emma said softly. They worked side by side in comfortable silence after that. No need for constant words. Understanding flowed between them naturally now. The rose garden bloomed more beautifully each day. Pink and white and deep red flowers opened their faces to sunshine. The air smelled sweet and alive. "Mother planted that white climbing rose," William said, pointing to a vigorous vine. "For her wedding day, she wanted something lasting, to remember happiness." Emma touched the soft petals gently. It survived everything, still blooming after all these years. Like hope, he murmured. Exactly like hope. One evening, Mrs. Gray made an announcement at dinner. Market day is coming to Millbrook Village. We need supplies desperately. Flour, sugar, lamp oil. Emma's stomach clenched with unexpected fear. Going to market meant seeing people, being seen and judged, whispered about, compared to pretty Jane, who lived there still. I could make the journey, Emma offered reluctantly. Nonsense, Mrs. Gray said firmly. You're needed here. Tom will go as always. But Tom had hurt his back, moving heavy stones. He could barely walk, let alone manage a full day's market trip. I'll go myself, Lord William said quietly. Both women stared at him in shock. My lord, Mrs. Gray stammered. You haven't been to market and perhaps it's time I ventured out again. Emma's heart raced with worry. The people there, they might not understand. They might be cruel. He smiled sadly. Let them stare and whisper. I can't hide forever. You don't have to face them alone, Emma said impulsively. I could come with you, if you'd like. Send. Mrs. Gray gasped audibly, but Lord William's blue eyes brightened with something like gratitude. You'd do that? Face their judgment with me? We could face it together, two unwanted people, showing them we're stronger than their opinions. He was quiet for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Yes, together sounds better. Market day dawned bright and clear. Emma dressed in her best brown dress, still plain, but clean and mended. She pinned her hair neatly back. Lord William met her at the manor door. He wore a fine coat and polished boots, but a wide-brimmed hat shadowed half his face. Old habits of hiding. The cart ride to Millbrook took an hour. They sat side by side, not speaking much, both nervous about the coming ordeal. Emma's hands trembled slightly. She'd been cast out from this place, rejected and abandoned. Now she was returning, changed. Are you afraid? William asked gently. Terrified, Emma admitted, but also ready somehow. I'm not the same person who left here. Neither am I, he said, thanks to you. The market square bustled with familiar faces. Emma recognized her old neighbors immediately. They recognized her too. Whispers started instantly. That's Emma Stone, the plain daughter. Thought her family sent her away. Who's that man with her? Is he? Oh my lord, look at his face. William tensed beside her, ready to retreat, to hide again. The match. Emma linked her arm through his firmly. Hold your head high, she whispered. We belong here as much as anyone. They walked through the market together, buying flour and sugar and lamp oil, acting like normal people doing normal things. Some folks stared in horror, others whispered prayers. But a few, a precious few, nodded politely, treated them with basic human dignity. At the baker's stall, Emma faced her past directly. The baker's son stood there. Thomas. He'd once made her laugh by the well. It's your idea. Emma, he said uncertainly, is that really you? Hello, Thomas. He looked different, older, tired, unhappy even. You look, he searched for words. You look well, healthy, content. I am content, very much so. His eyes moved to William standing protectively beside her. This is your employer. This is Lord William, Emma said with quiet pride. A good man, a kind man. Thomas shifted uncomfortably. Emma remembered her old feelings for him. They seemed distant now, like memories from someone else's life. I heard about your marriage, Emma said politely. I hope you're happy. Happy enough, Thomas replied, but his eyes said otherwise. They completed their purchases and loaded the cart. Emma felt strangely light, free. She'd faced her past and felt nothing. No shame, no longing, just mild pity for the people still trapped in their small, cruel judgments. On the ride home, William was quiet for miles. Finally he spoke. You stood beside me when everyone stared. You didn't flinch or step away. Why would I? Their opinions mean nothing to me now. But your reputation, my reputation is my own to make, and I choose to link it with yours. He looked at her with wonder. How did you become so brave? Emma considered carefully. I think true courage comes from knowing your own worth, not needing others to tell you what you're worth. And what am I worth? He asked quietly. More than you know, much more than you've let yourself believe. That evening, they sat together in the restored garden. Roses bloomed all around them. Sweet perfume filled the air. Stars appeared one by one overhead. Emma, William said suddenly, there's something I need to tell you, something important. Her heart fluttered nervously. What is it? When you first arrived here, I thought you were just another servant, someone who would run away eventually, like all the others. Emma waited quietly. But you didn't run. You stayed. You worked. You brought this place back to life. You brought me back to life. You did the same for me, she whispered. I need you to know, you're not just a servant here anymore. You're everything to me. Emma's breath caught. My lord! William, please, just William. William, she repeated softly. The name felt perfect on her lips. I know I'm scarred, damaged. I have nothing beautiful to offer you. You're wrong, Emma interrupted. You have everything that matters. Kindness, intelligence, a gentle heart. That's true beauty. He reached for her hand, held it gently. Could you possibly care for someone like me? Emma smiled through sudden tears. I already do care. More than I ever thought possible. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles softly. Then will you stay with me? Not as a servant? As your wife, Emma finished breathlessly. If you'll have me, scars and all. Especially the scars, Emma said firmly. They're part of your story, part of what makes you you. He pulled her closer, into his arms. Safe and warm and perfectly right. I love you, Emma Stone. Plain Emma, who sees beauty where others see only flaws. I love you too, William, my scarred lord who taught me my own worth. They kissed there in the moonlit garden, surrounded by roses that had survived fire and neglect, just like them, just like their unexpected love. The engagement announcement shocked everyone for miles around. Lord William and his plain housemaid. Impossible. Scandalous. The gossips had a feast, but Emma no longer cared about gossip. She had found something precious, something real. Love is based on understanding, not appearance. Are you certain about this? Mrs. Gray asked privately. The nobility, they won't accept you easily. I'm not marrying the nobility, Emma replied calmly. I'm marrying William.
It's out the two-way.
Wedding preparations began immediately. Nothing grand or showy, just a simple ceremony in the manor's small chapel. Close friends only. Family who truly mattered. William wrote to his sister Catherine at last, a long letter explaining everything. His years of hiding, his healing, his love for remarkable Emma. The reply came quickly. Catherine would travel from London immediately. She couldn't wait to meet the woman who'd brought her brother back to life. She's coming here, William asked nervously. After all these years? She never stopped loving you, Emma said gently. Love doesn't disappear just because we hide from it. Catherine arrived on a sunny Tuesday morning. Elegant carriage, beautiful clothes, everything Emma wasn't and never would be. But when Catherine saw her brother, tears filled her eyes. Happy tears. William, oh my dear William, you look like yourself again. She embraced him tightly, scars and all, no hesitation, no horror, just pure sibling love. John. Then she turned to Emma, studied her carefully. So you're the woman who worked miracles. Emma felt suddenly shy. I just cared for him. That's all. That's everything, Catherine said firmly. I can see why he loves you. You have kind eyes, strong hands, a good heart, the important things. Emma felt accepted. Truly accepted. For the first time in her life. The wedding day dawned perfect. Sunshine streamed through stained glass windows. The chapel filled with sweet rose perfume. Emma wore her mother's old dress, altered and mended, but beautiful enough. Catherine had offered expensive gowns, but Emma wanted something meaningful, something honest. William waited at the altar. His scars were visible in the bright light, but his smile was radiant, pure joy. Emma walked toward him slowly. Each step is a choice, each step a declaration. She was choosing love over safety, hope over fear, future over past. You look beautiful, he whispered when she reached him. So do you, she whispered back, and meant it completely. The ceremony was brief but perfect. Simple vows, honest promises, two damaged souls choosing to heal together. When William kissed his bride, the small congregation erupted in cheers. Mrs. Gray wept openly. Catherine clapped with delight. Even stern old Tom smiled broadly. The celebration feast was modest but joyful. Local farmers came to wish them well. Some of the kinder village folk attended. Good people choosing love over judgment. Emma's mother had not come. Jane had sent no word. Their absence hurt briefly, then disappeared entirely. Their opinions no longer mattered. Emma had found her real family. That evening, Emma stood in the restored rose garden, now truly hers, truly home. The flowers glowed in twilight, like living jewels. William found her there, slipped strong arms around her waist. Happy? He asked softly. Beyond words, Emma replied. Beyond dreams. Likewise. I have something for you, he said. A wedding gift. He handed her an official document, signed and sealed. Emma read it carefully, then gasped. You're giving me half the manor, half of everything? You restored it all, brought it back to life. It should be yours by right. But William, this makes me my equal in all things, my true partner, the way it should be. Yes. Emma turned in his arms, looked into those beloved blue eyes. I came here to clean your manor. And instead you became its mistress, its heart, its soul. We became its heart, Emma corrected, together. They kissed again under the rising stars, surrounded by impossible roses. Living proof that broken things could heal, damaged things could bloom again. That get the cleansing. Months passed in peaceful happiness. Emma managed the manor with skill and grace. The house prospered under her care. The gardens flourished beyond all expectation. William emerged fully from his long isolation. He attended local meetings, helped his tenants with their problems, became the leader he was meant to be. Together they entertained guests regularly. Simple dinners, garden parties. The manor filled with laughter for the first time in years. 1 year later, Emma discovered wonderful news. She was expecting their first child. William wept with joy when she told him. A baby, he whispered in amazement. Our baby. He might have your scars, Emma said gently, or she might be plain like me. Then they'll be perfect, William replied without hesitation. Beautiful in all the ways that truly matter. The baby was born healthy and strong. A daughter with her father's blue eyes and her mother's gentle spirit. They named her Rose, for the garden that brought them together. Emma held her newborn daughter close. This child would know love from birth, would never doubt her worth, would understand that true beauty came from kindness, not appearance.
Brandy.
She's gorgeous, Catherine said, visiting from London. She's ours, Emma replied simply. That makes her perfect. Years passed in contentment. More children came. A son with Emma's dark hair. Twin girls who looked like neither parent but both. Each one loved completely. Each one raised to see beyond surfaces. The manor became known throughout the county. Not for its lord's scars, but for its warmth, its welcome, its proof that love conquered all prejudice.
Yes.
Emma often walked through her gardens in the evening, past roses that still bloomed magnificently, past vegetables that fed her family, past herbs that healed both body and spirit. She would remember that first day, standing alone before the great door, frightened and unwanted, plain Emma with nowhere to go. Now she was Lady Emma, wife, mother, manor mistress. But most importantly, she was loved, valued, treasured beyond measure. She had come to clean his manor, but Lord William had made her its beating heart instead. Thalia. And in the deepest truth, they had saved each other. Two broken souls becoming whole, two unwanted hearts finding home. The roses bloomed eternally around them, proof that even the most damaged things could grow beautiful again with patient love.